So I'm going to fix David Benatar's uh, asymmetry diagram here. Um, so this all here, this isn't anything. How do I make this bigger? Uh, we need to just completely get rid of this because it it doesn't exist. There's nothing here that to represent. There's nothing that is good or anything. There's just this half over here. The oops, this yeah, there's just this half over here. This we can completely ignore this absence of pain being good, because to say something is good is to assign it a quality, to say that it's a state of experience. Uh, you have to exist in some way in order to uh, experience good. Good can only be applied to a person, place, or thing. But there is nothing to apply good to if you don't exist. If you don't exist, um, well, you don't exist at all. The only uh, thing that actually exists is this. There is the presence of pain in the universe, and there is the presence of pleasure in the universe. Those are things that exist. Those are experiences that are occurring. The other stuff we can just ignore because it isn't as if somebody is resting in peace before they exist, because there is no they to point to say, oh, this person doesn't exist yet. There is no person to say that they don't exist. There is only the experiences that do exist, that are occurring. There's no, yeah, I, I'm just repeating myself, but there are only the experiences that are occurring. So if you had never been born, you wouldn't be resting in peace or having an experience of no experience or some kind of deprivation of experience, somehow um, uh, blocking the experiences that are, the only experiences that are. So if you never existed, there would still be experience occurring. It just wouldn't be being done by the brain that's your brain, doing the consciousness that's your consciousness. There would be only the experiences that are being done by the living brains that currently exist. So if you were never born, then instead of your experience right now, it'd be one of the experiences that are being done by one of the living brains. You didn't exist, but then a brain was born and it started doing the consciousness that is referred to as you. And so if you don't exist once again, but another brain is born, then the same thing happens again. It's not a repeat of you, it's not a continuation of you, it's just that there are brains doing experience after you no longer exist, or if you were never born, there's still brains doing experiences. You're not in a black void or anything like that. You don't exist on any level. So you can imagine that if, uh, let's say, the universe is completely empty. There's no one around whatsoever anywhere in the universe. But then a brain is born, and that brain is doing a consciousness. And, well, it just turns out that that consciousness is you, the person listening to this right now. But then eventually that consciousness ends, and because that brain dies. But then once again, so the universe is empty, there's no one in it anywhere. And then the same thing happens. A completely different, completely new brain comes to exist, and now that's the only experience there is. So when one experience ended, there was the experience that came after that. You know, the dead consciousness didn't go somewhere, and it doesn't somehow stop the second experience from being the experience that came after it, because it's the only experience that's occurring at that point in time. It's just there's that experience, and then there's the experience that it's occurring in a completely different place in the universe or whatever. It's being done by a completely different brain that had no connection to the other brain, but it's the only experience that's occurring after the first experience ended. So it's one experience and then another. It's just, and if there's millions of years in between the two brains coming to exist, uh, that large gap of time in between isn't experienced. It's just like if you go unconscious right now, you don't experience being unconscious, and you don't experience your own lack of existence. Again, there are only the experiences that are occurring, and only experiences what's experienced, not, you don't get to enjoy your own lack of experience. You don't get to, experience this peacefulness after you cease to exist, because there's still experience after this one ends. It's just being done by different brains, you know. So, yeah, before you existed, there was experience. And right now, there's experience, which is being done by a brain. And there will be experience being done by brains after this one ends. So there's just, as long as there's brains in the universe doing consciousness or doing experience, there's just a constant, unending stream of experience. In any point in time when there's no brains doing consciousness in the universe, that period of time is an experience, just like anytime you go unconscious in your own life, that period of time is not experienced. It's just, from your point of view, it's skipped over. So this is called generic subjective continuity. So there's just going to be, after you die, there's just going to be more experience. It's just going to be done by some other brain. As I said, it's not a continuation of the consciousness that ended. So, anyways, yes, there is presence of pain, and there is pain and there is pleasure, but this other stuff, this is nonsense over here. Because there's no one to appreciate this. To even create this side of the graph or the diagram is nonsensical, because these things don't exist. It's pointing out something that isn't even there. It's, his Benatar's book title is Better Never to Have Been. That's no different than saying that we rest in peace after we die, or that we were resting in peace before we came to exist. So, check out Tom Clark's essay called Death, Nothingness, and Subjectivity on naturalism.org. Thanks for watching.